Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This time, we're going to Vulcan. It's Amok Time, yeah, Pon Far, all that stuff. So get on board, we're heading there. Get a bowl of pomeek soup and get ready, settle in and get ready. After you've done that, get ready for this weekend. October 14th, the latest It's All Been Done Radio Hour live show at Mad Lab, 5:30. All new episodes of some of your favorite episodes within It's All Been Done Radio Hour. May even be a universe journey. Could be.
Usually.
Could be. Roll the dice. Take that chance. Also, stick around after It's All Been Done Radio Hour. See the latest Mad Lab production, And Then They Fell by Tira Palmquist. It's a great show. It's got a couple of our longtime favorites. Aaron Robe, Scotty Joe Douglas Wilson, and some great newcomers. So come check that out. That is at 8 o'clock. All the details on that are at madlab.net. Now, buckle in, eat that pomeek soup. Let's go to Vulcan. It's Amok Time, and it's all been trekked before.
Welcome back after our long absence.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like it's been forever.
Feel so refreshed, I think.
To It's All Been Trekked Before. Surprisingly, somehow, we have the exact same people that were here 6 weeks ago when we did our season 1 finale episode.
Amanda's on a really long break.
She just wasn't available the last time we recorded this or this one.
It's coincidence.
So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Colleen, and I have Zoe.
Zoe's fallen asleep, though. She can't give her opinion on the second half of the episode.
That may be an opinion in and of itself, but I don't think so.
No,
this is Steven.
And this is Keith.
Jimmy-Jerome. So, season 2 premiere, Amok Time. What do we think?
I still love this episode. I know we're going to talk about some of the issues or whatever in it.
I still love it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And
it was not perfect.
No, it's not perfect. But and I can't tell if it's the fact that I know that it's the season 2 opener, and time passed in that universe, or not even that universe, the universe of 1967.
Yeah.
NBC and everything, but it just looks and feels different right off the bat.
The budget seemed to be increased.
Yes, exactly.
There are more crewmen everywhere. Mm-hmm. We got to see Spock's quarters,
which were great.
All tricked out.
Yeah,
glowy lights.
I don't know if it's interesting that, and obviously it's just one episode, but that he's got the most personality in his quarters for the guy who's Mr. Logic and straight-laced. And he's also the only one who uses the locked door feature on his room.
And I think you're overlooking one of the most telling features of the budget, is that they had a cloche for the soup.
Oh,
she had the little thing for the tray. Yes, yeah. It's like look at this, the presentation on that. Ta-da! And,
I was just saying the Vulcan set also looked pretty good.
Yes, the updated especially looked fantastic.
Oh man, the updated where they walked across the bridge to the the top of the no, it was really sweet. A sequence that was not at all in the original version, where they just beamed down right next to the arena. Which that had to have added 20 seconds to the episode or something.
The old one makes sense in the sense of they beamed down right there, but it looked super cool, the new effects. And not only was it the arena, but you could see the city, whatever city that was behind it. Vulcan City.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it was called Vulcan.
You think it was
just gonna stick it out there?
Vulcanian City?
No.
I was gonna say Vulcania.
But yeah, it's definitely seen. I don't think the budget was actually up, but it looked like it was up. They made better use, or they started the season. We're gonna throw
money at the opener. Yeah.
But whatever reason, the budget definitely seemed increased.
I still maintain that the opening theme was enhanced in some way. I think there was an actual.
It did seem different.
I didn't notice anything different about the music, but of course, we definitely bears mention that DeForest Kelley is now in the opening.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Alongside Leonard Nimoy and Shatner. And I think that showed in the episode as well. I mean, it was definitely the trifecta. Mm-hmm. We'd seen the trifecta in little scenes, but this is the first episode that it's the full trifecta. Yeah. Hopefully that word does apply here.
Yeah.
The three of them.
So.
I mean,
triumvirate or trifecta.
Spock saying, I'm inviting my closest friend,
Yeah.
Shat.
That was nice.
Kirk and Dr. McCoy, I also request your presence, which it just shows. I mean, we got hints of that toward the end of season 1, but
I'm glad Chapel wasn't there to hear him say that, because then she would have cried again.
so Chapel, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it was something they really didn't do before. I was disappointed it was her instead of Uhura, first of all.
Well, sure.
Because the Uhura Spock.
But we had, the Naked Time, and wasn't there another episode where Spock and Chapel's thing comes up?
I think just once.
Was that the only
and
time?
It was subtle.
And I guess that would be one of those we talked about with our season 1 wrap-up 6 weeks ago, about how there weren't many references back. But that's definitely one, is the Spock-Chapel thing.
Did strike me when he was starting to return her flirtation that she reminds me a lot of his mother.
Oh.
Chapel?
Amanda Grayson,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which may be why he gravitated towards her at that
Interesting.
time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All Freudian stuff.
While we're on Chapel and Spock, I thought it was... I didn't know what to make of McCoy's "You never stop hoping, do you?" line he says to Chapel about still being into him. I thought it was a little cold, a little dickish.
It seemed like maybe they'd had a lot of conversations about Spock before.
It didn't strike me as, oh, foolish girl. It struck me as, you're such a sucker. You're pathetic. But
Yeah, but
either one would apply, I think.
well, if they've talked about it a million times,
Sure.
and if Spock's made it clear he's not interested, then yeah, I could see him getting frustrated.
Well, and if Chapel would hang out with Yam and Smith Jones, they could have a real talk conversation about
Well,
it.
Smith Jones is transferred off ship by season 2.
Yeah, because I didn't see her in the
No, she
all those
transferred
shots.
off. I decided
To
I don't
another
know.
starship
I
where
don't
she's
know.
probably just as
I
lonely.
just feel like if we keep this going for 3 seasons, it's just too much. Smith Jones is gone. She transferred off.
That's fair.
She followed Rand to Rand
That's
her
right.
next posting. Rand's like, I got you a new posting with me, and the guys here don't sexually assault. And she's like, oh darn, I don't want to take it then.
Whatever Smith Jones ended up, I hope she's happy.
Hopefully. So let's talk about the beginning of the episode, the whole setup, the whole premise. And this is where my issues are, not later in the episode.
Like the very open, or
Like the fact that Spock is very... I buy that Starfleet doesn't know about it, even though Vulcan was the first alien species they made contact with, even though they've had other Vulcans serve on starships before.
Right.
I buy that the Vulcans are just private people and they've hidden it. I buy that.
Yeah.
I don't buy that Spock knows it's coming and waits until it's going to kill him or he's going to do bad things to deal with it.
I wrote by the time Kirk agrees to be the other person and then realizes, oh crap, I'm going to sit to death. I wrote nobody Wikipedia'd Vulcan customs at any point in all of this time.
Well, like I said, I get that he didn't know it, and I get that. And Spock was acting erratically leading up to getting
Sure.
to Vulcan, and I buy that. I don't buy that Spock didn't plan for it before he started acting erratically.
Agreed. That's not
That's where
logical.
the premise of the episode kind of falls apart for me, and that's where I would say that
he does say he didn't think he would have to face it.
Yeah, that's
the half-human thing.
Yes.
But he's old enough; he would have faced it before this.
Well, that's something I was going to mention actually. They had. I feel like there were some holes, but I feel like there wasn't anything I was left with where I thought they didn't at least make a decent attempt at trying to explain it to my satisfaction. I was like, okay, well, I see why they did that. It's maybe a little contrived, but
He had to have gone through Pond Fire before.
Well, there's always a question: when does it start?
Yeah.
And is it? All I can think of is that the film series by Michael Epp did 7 Up, the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be 7, 14, 21, 28,
Well,
35. He's
okay.
35 here,
The
right?
marriage ceremony was at 7.
Oh, right.
They mentioned
Sure.
that.
Right.
We know at 14 it's going on because of Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
well, they haven't established that here is the thing. So that's,
No, but they later... I mean, I don't think you make it to your 30s and not have it. And Spock, even if they didn't show it on screen until Star Trek 3 later that he has as a teenager, based on his age, I would say he definitely has had it before.
Well, I'm just saying.
But
I think this is a bit of retconning more than anything else.
Sure, and I think maybe he had it at 14 because we all have it at 14. We all go through that.
And at 21 and at 28. This would
Right,
be like
but
a
I
third.
think Spock maybe... the fact that he says, I didn't think I'd have to deal with this, makes me think
He just thought he had it under control.
Maybe he got through one of them. And he's obviously fighting it, obviously.
All right. I mean...
Well, and then my other complaint is the Vulcans are logic-minded people. And I get...
As T'Pring demonstrates at the end of the episode.
Sure. And I also say, okay, I get that you're going to keep some old customs and whatever, but a logic-minded people, hundreds of years after they've developed the space program, has not come up with a solution besides murder or sex. Like, can we just do a vigorous workout in the gym or something? I mean, there has to be something they can do besides murder or sex.
A game of chess or something?
3D chess.
Although I do find it funny that killing a man erases the drive and he's cool. He doesn't have to have sex as long as he's murdered somebody.
And it didn't even have to be, nobody had to declare it. Well, I guess, actually, McCoy declared him dead, I guess, but...
He did.
No Vulcans checked. I mean, these were Outworlders that did it, so you can't trust Outworlders. But yeah, there is a gap there, and I fill in the gap with somehow, well, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And
but maybe this is the first time he thought he could get past it.
Yeah.
That's the only one that makes sense.
It does, but that I don't excuse that based on the episode. I think that's I think the setup was a major plot hole, but once it got going, it was good.
Well, it's obviously very much an exposition thing that we need to explain to you all these customs.
Right.
Oh, there is a weird gap here that's not.
I think they had an idea for a story, and the story was solid, and then they're like, it doesn't quite lead up to it. That's fine. Well, we're just gonna jump into it.
Yeah.
And when we, whichever universe we're looking at, 7 years prior, Kirk hasn't known him for 7 years, right?
No.
Or these
Kirk
people
has
haven't
not
known him for 7 years. So,
like a year or two at this point.
Yeah. I guess I've never really totally grasped or necessarily embraced Ponfar in the sense of I can't get my head around what did they do every 7 years.
They have sex. They mate.
And that's
or
it.
something.
Well,
but that begs the question: what happened those last 2 times?
Yeah.
So they don't have to wait.
He just killed somebody.
No. I think he and T'Pring.
Vulcan is littered.
He and T'Pring mated the last few times.
Okay, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have a Vulcan.
Stan hadn't stepped in yet. She hadn't started her affair yet.
Sure.
But you don't have to wait till 7 years to mate. I mean, Sarek.
True.
It's been pretty established that Sarek slept with Amanda between.
I know I don't.
cars.
I can assure you of that.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Right,
well,
Colleen?
But at least every 7 years was their thing. Because they suppress so much that it eventually erupts.
I mean, is it possible that this only had something to do with the marriage ritual itself? That's what the urgency was? Maybe over those 7 years it's something else, just the mating thing? Or
Well, the 7 years he was going under the blood fever. Like, there is a biological
The plaque
component
tau.
to it.
Okay.
Like the salmon, they have to, whatever.
Go back
But-
to Capistrano. No, that's the swallows, right? The swallows are straight at Capistrano. The salmons just go upstream.
Go upstream.
And then also, again, it seems like I noted. I said for some reason I recall this being every 7 years, and I think you answered that in saying that it was established in the movie series and not
Oh
necessarily.
no, and this was established every
They
7
they
years.
said 7.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
I believe so. Pretty
I
sure.
mean, they said that he was 7 years old when they were.
Yeah, they say every
married,
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
When he's explaining it to Kirk.
Okay. I didn't catch it.
um,
Let's see.
while we're talking about mating and stuff.
Uh-huh.
How could there not be a birds and something else or something else in the bees by then? This is something we've talked about a lot in the season 1 stuff, but birds and bees is still the only reference.
Well, in a pig's eye, let's
right.
go mind the
Right,
store.
yeah.
I mean, the expressions of our grandparents' generation have now become back in vernacular.
Right, and I
Even though we don't say those things. I mean, we say birds and bees, we don't say the other two now.
I guess. I mean, probably not. I mean, we
No.
know what it is. I mean, it was within our lifetime. So.
Yes, but when's the last time you heard somebody in your age group say in a pig's eye, or let's go mind the store?
I don't know. I feel like there had been some ironic something. I don't know. Maybe minding the store, but still.
My favorite song by Mo.
What's that?
Kyle's song. That's in the chorus. Who will mind the store when Kyle's out of town?
No.
That's all I got.
what is that?
My favorite song by Mo.
Who's Mo?
It's a music group.
Oh. Is it a new one? Okay.
Is it one of your hippie groups?
Yes.
I figured.
Hippies.
Sorry, Mo. I'll try to make an effort.
That's MOE?
If you're listening to this.
MOE period.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
The period is variable.
I wonder if it's Moe, like with the Japanese thing, if that's what that is.
Oh, it could be. I don't know.
In the goofs, it says light days would actually be a measurement of time, not a unit of distance.
Yeah.
That ties to my parsecs thing like 6 weeks ago.
Well, the light days reminds me of that we heard about him being space sick. Was it, that was Chekhov, yeah. Welcome, Chekhov.
And grammatically,
Go.
Yeah, sorry, we can talk about Chekhov.
Oh, we'll get into
Grammatically,
Chekhov.
T'Pau says the many times when she should say thou.
Huh.
So T'Pau has bad grammar.
Well, she's Vulcan. It's not her.
It could be
English isn't her first language.
Okay, but yes, Chekhov. So Chekhov and Sulu had a nice immediate chemistry.
Yeah, that's one of my alternate episodes. Is those two just
Hanging out.
they're funny banter.
It was a good introduction for
It was.
Chekhov. It
It was.
wasn't beating her over the head,
Yeah.
but we got him. It was fun.
There's the moment where Spock has to leave the bridge and Chekhov goes right to the science officer's station, so they dropped that in there.
He had very appealing Beatles hair, I noted.
Yes, it was
For the kids to
Yep.
really.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't bother to look this up. I'm not really that great with history, so I'm not sure if there's something specific going on with, like, say, Russia around that time that maybe made him want to bring
We
in a
were in
Russian
the Cold
character.
War.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So, like, as opposed to the year prior to that, I mean, was it just...
No, so what they decided was they
Yeah.
wanted a young person because the monkeys had gotten really popular. So they used no, I'm not kidding.
It's true.
So the monkeys
He
were
looked like
popular.
one of the monkeys.
So
Because he
that's why
looks more
had
like
the
Davy
haircut.
Jones than anything.
And then they're like, well, Gene Roddenberry's thinking was, well, let's make him a different nationality. We're in the Cold War with the Russians. Let's go ahead and make him Russian.
Interesting.
But the studio had requested the young kid with the mop top to appeal to the
Wow.
monkeys'
Yep.
audiences.
Yep.
Wow.
True story.
But yeah, I like Chekhov. And
Yeah.
Scotty wasn't in this episode, but I
Oh,
thought
you're
we
right.
got Scotty, we got Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, Chapel, and they all had little bits.
Yeah. Here we got to read the message from Starfleet.
Yeah.
Couple-
And Chekhov and Sulu had several good jokes.
Yeah, it was a good.
Not like, better start plotting
Yeah.
a course for Vulcan again. I liked that commentary.
It was
more
great.
of that. More of that.
That
please.
was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was legitimately fun.
Yes, it was. Fashion.
Fashion. Colleen?
Oh, I had a question
Sure.
about fashion. Why did Spock have to wear the little purple belt scarf, but Kirk didn't have to wear a belt scarf?
Off order.
Because the purple belt scarves are reserved for Vulcans.
Maybe.
Because the other Vulcans did have belt scarves,
I think if Kirk hadn't been an outward,
They would have had to wear a belt
I think
scarf,
Keith's
too.
right. That's my.
but he took it off as soon as the battle was over.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a battle scarf, but then the other guys that were there
It's
were
probably
also wearing
both.
them.
Vulcan battle scarf, not Earth battle scarf.
No, I don't.
That's
There's
kind of
probably
a
no
good
good
point, though. I mean, you
explanation for that.
should probably made him do
Or Kirk was just like, I'm not wearing the purple scarf. Come on.
that, too.
I'm surprised
Or
T'Pring's
Shatner.
outfit
Like-
was not more revealing, considering they're on a very hot planet.
Yeah, Shatner was like, cut out. But desert dwellers tend to wear a lot of clothing.
Good point. You're right.
Um,
Shows that I did not grow up in a desert.
I thought the helmets the Vulcan
Yeah.
guys were wearing resembled the Romulan helmets.
Which makes
was,
sense.
yeah.
Since they
I mean,
split.
because they did establish
Sure.
already
Yeah.
that they were split off.
The default champion, I guess.
Stan.
The other one, the unnamed,
Oh,
the guy who would fight if.
The one that looked dangerous.
Yes.
Like, oh, must be the champion she's going to
Yeah,
pick.
exactly. Yeah,
You.
he kind of had the executioner's look to him, which just sounds like that's his job, is to execute people that don't have anybody else that gets chosen.
There is somebody listed as Vulcan Executioner in the credit.
Oh, really?
DVD.
Oh, well. Hey, I nailed it.
Is Stan's the one she had a hard on for?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He reminded me so much of Adam Driver.
Oh, yeah. I think we
That's
talked
been
about
said
it.
before, I think.
He was also in Balance of Terror, the same actor, and we.
Lawrence Montaigne.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Amanda said he was Adam Driver, yeah.
He reminded. I don't know if it was the eyes or what. There was something.
No, it's true.
It wasn't just the height. Like
No.
his face. Every time they
No,
showed him, I was like,
I was making a motion for the face.
oh, the face shape.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that could be it.
He just passed away, and he was on another great Trek podcast. I just want to talk about Star Trek on Feral Audio. Check that out. And I listened to an interview with him, and it was just really cool. But he got into real detail about at one point he was going to be the replacement for Nimoy if Nimoy went and did Mission Impossible. So
Which he did eventually do.
Yeah. And they were on set for this at the same time, and Nimoy, Montaigne said he was really cool during Balance of Terror because they weren't really around each other that much, but he said on this one, Nimoy did not want to hang out with him.
Really?
They did not. He was nowhere near him.
Funny that Nimoy replaced Martin Landau on Mission Impossible. Martin Landau just passed away.
Oh, you're right, man.
So,
R.I.P.
coincidence. As we record this, I mean that was months ago for you people, but it's fresh for us.
It is.
Well, it's kind of funny the whole guest star rivalry thing, and kind of writing that into the script. Their characters' attention over the woman too. It's like
I love what's the Spock line? How could you choose this one over me? He said it a lot more eloquent than I just did.
The logic was a lot behind doing that or something?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. That's another, seems like it could be another little, I don't know if they did things like that before.
There's another great Spock.
So many great quotes.
There are a lot of great lines.
I mean, like, the having is not nearly as whatever. How's that go?
Wanting is, or having.
Having is not so pleasing a thing after all as wanting.
Yeah.
It is not logical, but is often true. It's a very famous Spock quote that they've said.
I'd never heard it before.
It's kind of
I was going with it though.
I think it's on my poster of everything I need to know about life I learned from Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
I think that was one of the quotes they pulled for
It's
that.
kind of a variation of
it's upstairs.
careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, you know.
Like when I chase ambulances, once I catch it, I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
I would say the grass is always greener. It might be
Yes.
That's a very good one.
See, they update some of the phrases.
They do.
My favorite quote
the kids
from
Ben would always say that in the future.
My favorite quote from this episode, the one that I always remember, is when T'Pol says, "Live long and prosper, Spock," and he says, "I shall do neither. I've killed my captain."
Yeah, that's my favorite. I was
that's
I was
the
like
line.
waiting for that the
That's the
entire episode.
Huh.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Spock saying, "Jim!" and getting excited and happy. I mean, I'll forgive him the emotion. He's been through the turmoil, and he thought his best friend was dead.
Actual smile.
And I think that makes up for, because yes, he's gonna hide his emotions, but even for somebody that hides his emotions, he seemed a little unaffected that Kirk was dead, even after he said that line.
Right.
So allowing that joy to shine through when he realizes he's not helps solidify how much he does care.
Well, he didn't want his Vulcan friends to see him being emotional.
I was just about to say that. I mean, I really, that sounds funny, but I really think that's he's on that world.
Oh, yeah.
He's already been getting shit from his wife was like, you're famous for being whatever, and like, okay.
Well, T'Pol makes reference of like, Spock, you're not all that Vulcan and blah blah blah. Like, they kind of talk about that.
I love the T'Pau and T'Pring and all that conversation. T'Pring's logic, as he says, what's he say? It's
flawless.
Flawless, yeah. And it makes sense because as a kid I was like, oh, that bitch. But now as an adult I'm like, nope, that makes a lot of sense what she's saying here.
Yeah, but all right. Here's the thing.
No, it's still not great, but yeah.
I guess within the confines of that structure of having to have a battle take place or something. But no, she could have also not called for the battle and just told him.
So
that's true too. She didn't have to choose Kirk either.
Keith, in exact answer to what you're saying, there have been a number of Vulcans in Star Trek that excuse behavior that isn't really acceptable with twisted logic, and on the face of it, the logic may make sense, but they've used it as a crutch to excuse something that shouldn't be right.
Okay.
So this is not... The Vulcans like to think of themselves as logical and perfect and unemotional, but we've seen time and again in Star Trek that the Vulcans are just as emotional as everybody else.
That is very good. That's very good.
So that, to me, is an enrichment of the species, not a flaw in the script.
Here's my question. Right. She wants Stan, and Stan wanted her.
Yeah.
Isn't that emotion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes and no.
Where is Stan's Ponfar girl?
That's a good question.
Maybe
she died.
Yeah.
She was killed by the champion, by the executioner. No.
Okay. Well, I mean,
and how come the man has to be the one to fight?
Okay.
What kind of world is this?
So, we want to do our sexist thing.
Yeah.
Well, and right there is a very good start.
I think we're here. Yeah.
All right. But so was it established that every single Vulcan child is matched up, or maybe it's just like a status thing?
I think it was a status thing because they definitely made clear that Spock is
You
high.
think that executioner has a girl? I doubt it.
You're probably right. I think it is the hybrid. And Spock's father is hybrid, Spock's hybrid, and they were very clear about that in this episode. Like Kirk even saying, I didn't realize he was so high
connected,
so important. But we had the line about where they said become the property of.
Yes.
T'Pring has to agree to become the property of the champion. And before that, we had Spock tell Chapel that a woman should not play servant to a man who is not hers.
Yes.
And I was like, what the heck did he just say? Like, he basically said, yeah, women should be servants, but only to their men.
Yeah.
I will. I would like to.
I would say I take that differently. I take that to mean that he's mine. Like, he's my property, and that's why I can serve him. Whereas you're not, so I'm not going to serve you.
But Spock said,
Colleen, I'm not your
Spock
property.
was
Not
like,
yet.
you shouldn't be serving me because you're not mine.
Let the record show that Colleen
thought it
was
was 'cause he
expecting
wasn't
towards
hers.
Steven just then when she said
Did I
that.
misunderstand?
Maybe. I mean, Spock was the one saying it, so I took it as basically saying a woman is a man's property.
You shouldn't serve a man that's not yours. Which means that the man is hers that she should serve.
Well, he was saying you
he's
should.
her property just like she is his.
It's implied in some ways there's some reciprocity. What he was actually saying was that she was not his property, therefore she should not be serving him.
I kind of agree with
I don't know
you,
that that's what he
Colleen.
said, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the quote right now.
But
It's not a quote that people have.
I liked it, though.
the thing that I would
Maybe I took it wrong. Because I can't find the exact quote, so I'll trust Colleen on it.
We can car go down.
Yeah.
the thing that I would take from that though is that I think they could have also been trying to underline how antiquated the custom was of the whole ritual of.
I mean, it was extremely gender. Stay in your lane. Men are this, and women are that. The property.
Yeah, I mean, overall it feels that way. But I think, I agree with you, Colleen.
That Spock's line wasn't. It may not have been. I can't find the exact quote. So I can see that probably just took it the wrong way.
Because, yes, he absolutely implied that a woman serves, but I thought it also implied that the man belonged to her, that she should serve.
Interesting. Guest stars. We obviously had Lawrence.
Yeah.
I thought Celia Lovsky was great as T'Pol.
She is, yeah.
She really balanced that character. That she was sympathetic to the humans. She was trying to do right by Spock. This actress is most famous for Soylent Green. The last time I saw her,
Oh, yeah.
was
I think
Man of a
I think
Thousand
she had the
Faces.
last line in Soylent Green. Or she reveals what Soylent Green is, I think.
The character of T'Pol actually appears in 5 episodes of Star Trek, played by 3 different actresses. It's not the same High Priestess that's in Star Trek 3, which I wondered about. But in Star Trek Voyager, the Doctor calls up a hologram of T'Pol when he's looking at different personalities. And then in Enterprise, they did a 3-episode arc that's T'Pol when she's young and being offered the place that she turned down that they mentioned in this episode. And so we've seen that in Enterprise they give her backstory where it's a younger version of her because it's set before this, and she has interaction with humans and stuff. So she's an interesting figure. I think she's been mentioned in a lot of the books because she is an interesting figure in the Vulcan hierarchy.
Yeah, and I think she's really good at it. She's great in the role, and it's a cool role. And to counteract the sexism, a woman's in charge once you get to Vulcan.
That's true.
And I know they call her High Priestess, but I can't decide if she's really religious or secular. Or both.
So the Vulcans, they don't really talk about what their beliefs, how they're religious.
So and the way they talk about her, like, it seems like they're like, oh, they couldn't turn her down. She turned them down. All that stuff. She has some influence. So it seems like she's obviously a leader, a political figure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would argue that the Prime Minister is not a minister. It could be a title that's
exactly. That's what. Yeah, exactly. That's what I felt.
She was an instrumental figure in the Surak teaching of the Vulcans turning to logic. So
well, there you go. Yeah,
it could be a holdover title, but
that's
not the function it serves under the current administration.
So, which I thought was cool. I thought it was cool that she's the one in charge, and obviously held in high regard. There's one point, Kirk or McCoy asks her something, and she just rolls her eyes at them like, all right, Earthlings or whatever, just like, yeah, I'll put up with you guys. But
I think there's a reason that character's been referenced and brought back in other.
She's as much as she's like, well, this has to happen. She's, like I said, she's in charge. It's cool. Another thought I had was when McCoy or Kirk's like, oh, she's the officiant at Spock's wedding or whatever. I thought, how many Star Trek weddings have there been in here on Earth where somebody was T'Pol and was the officiant at the wedding?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
One or two.
Yeah.
She had a presence about her. Like, immediately respect her.
And Celia Lovsky played that character a lot. She was actually also married to Peter Lorre.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And she They were married for 11 years, actually during a lot of his busiest times, and he didn't want her to work. So what she ended up doing was being his manager and doing everything. She was actually working for him,
Yes.
but not actually working outside the home or whatever. I guess.
So you're saying she was serving her man.
Yeah.
But he was hers.
But he was hers.
That's right.
Excellent point.
That's
So I
right.
have a couple of things I still wanted to say about the arranged marriage.
Oh,
thing.
sure.
Or rather, the inclusion of it within these stories. Let's get into a couple of ways. One possibility is that, again, they're in this time period, in the 60s, I mean, and they can't really conceive of being so far ahead that they wouldn't still have something like that far in the future, or they're reaching for a device that would resonate with that current audience as being something that's antiquated, to tie it to ancient customs that seem like they should be barbaric, to evoke that reaction that people exist at that time. But who knows?
And it's interesting you mentioned ancient customs because the whole ritual and the setting and everything seemed like ancient stuff.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of it definitely a different way than when I first watched it, which was, and I don't know, Theodore Sturgeon wrote it, and it's a mishmash of different elements. I don't know where he pulled it. I know Nimoy, we know, pulled the Vulcan salute from
The Jewish faith.
From Jewish
yeah.
faith, yeah. But I was thinking about, as a kid, it seemed very foreign to me, and as a kid, I wasn't exposed to anything. And now, being older, I'm more exposed to stuff, but there's still... name a religion that's not in America. And actually, name religions in America. And a lot of that I don't know. So I thought it was because at first you're like, oh, this is all really weird what they're doing, and it's like you could name any religion on earth, and I'll have the same reaction at this point. Like, that's really weird why they do that. And I thought that was kind
People
of
talk
cool.
about how weird and messed up Scientology is, and I'm like, have you read the Bible?
I
think you only think
have
it's
that
weird
argument.
because it's new.
I have that argument all the time. In fact, I have it with the Supreme
Yeah.
Court, which I think they finally recognized Scientology, but for a long time they refused to. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It's
Yeah.
just as weird as Catholicism.
I have a lot of
Just
issues
as
with the
weird.
Supreme Court, but that's why, and I thought that with this, like, oh, these are really weird customs. Hey, wait a minute, no, those aren't, it's weird, but sure, but that's...
I like the gong
Yeah.
and the fire pit.
Uh-huh.
He hit the gong once and it broke into so many pieces. Like, how has that never
He was
happened?
in the
That's how
middle of
sharp
his
that
blood
was,
fever.
yeah.
Well, there's the weapon.
Isn't this where all of the Vulcans that are in the middle of their blood fever fight?
No, that was his family's.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, I
They
didn't
met-
understand that. Oh, I
yeah.
thought this was like the one.
No,
place.
no, they said
They
that
each
this
have
is
their
his
own
family's
death
place.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
just the high class.
Other Vulcans, it's probably
And the
more like...
gong can be replaced. If they break it, they just put a new gong up.
Other Vulcans, it's probably more like a piñata almost. It breaks,
It's cardboard. It
Yeah.
breaks every time.
and candy spills out.
Although the
Now you
cool
know.
hip Vulcans make it out of that like breakaway glass, so they purposely get it all over the place.
Okay, so you mentioned something that I forgot about, the
Yes.
blood fever. Okay, so
Yes.
these are some holes
The black tap.
that I was noticing at the time.
Chimichanga.
And yes, I know they were trying to explain away sort of casually. All right, so first of all, McCoy assumed for some reason that because Spock seemed confused, that he wouldn't be able to fight anyone there with probably greater strength because of the blood fever, and also up against a human being who is who can barely breathe. There's no way that he should be competitive during the wrestling scenes with the hand to hand
Right.
struggling. He should have been just crushed.
That's just showing you how awesome Kirk is.
All right, well.
Yeah.
I did think McCoy's solution to the whole thing was pretty clever, though.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah,
And I
McCoy...
think he got
thinking-
credit for it. He didn't get enough credit for it.
No, he
At
saves
the
the
end,
day.
they're all like, "Oh, we're so happy you're back, Spock," and Kirk, you sneak you. But
Yeah.
McCoy's the hero here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the first time
Absolutely.
I watched it, knowing obviously that I still knew Kirk was going to live, but it was still like a surprise, and what actually happened or whatever.
Oh yeah, I gasped audibly. Didn't you hear me?
I did, and McCoy is so cool and calm about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
there's no braggadocio. He's not the swagger of
McCoy's
Kirk.
not a
McCoy's
swagger.
he does his thing, and so
I mean, you
cool.
put him in the opening credits, and immediately
That's
he's the
it.
hero and saves the day. I love it.
But I agree with Colleen. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
no,
didn't
absolutely.
get the credit he deserved.
Absolutely.
But this is going to be a sports moment for the sports people out there, but the thin air just made me think of,
Colorado.
Denver, yeah. So whenever any sports team goes to Denver, like, oh, going to have to play in that thin air. It's going to be really tough. And there are studies that show, there is some effect. But at the end of the day, if you're if your team's better than the other team that's in Denver, you're still going to beat them. It doesn't matter how thin the freaking
Because
air is.
you all have thin air to breathe.
Exactly.
The altitude,
Yes.
I know that because of MMA. That's always
Yeah,
mentioned. They
yeah.
haven't been training or acclimated to that
Yeah.
altitude or
Yeah.
something.
It does play a part, but yeah.
Baking competitions that happen.
Really?
Yes, for those fans who also watch Food Network. Yes,
So,
cakes
there are-
bake differently in Denver.
Yeah, there are high altitude instructions on the back of cake,
That's
cake
right.
boxes.
Oh, well, I
I had a
Getting
birthday. I had a birthday in Colorado once in college, and my girlfriend was like, "Yeah, look at the back of the box." I was like, "Oh yeah, I've always seen that."
I've
knew what it
never
was for."
seen that.
Yeah,
This Star Trek, watch baking show Star Trek professional sports Venn diagram. I'd love to see.
There's
The
one
great-
person. There's
I know I'm not in
the
there.
middle.
So we get Neelix's cookbook they put out for Voyager, and we do a video series for the network about the great Trek baking competition, and Dallas can compete with other.
I was
people.
gonna say I will bake. I will
You and
bake
Dallas
whatever
could
Star
compete.
Trek
Where's the
recipes
sports
you
part
give
of
me.
this? Do I just watch it? I watch an event the whole time?
Yes.
We'll wear uniforms.
I think baking Star Trek, that Venn diagram is pretty good. When you bring in the
Great
sports part,
British Bake Off.
it's
You
not
gotta
as-
make it look exactly like the Great British.
There's like
Bake
an
Off.
obstacle course between the refrigerator and the oven that you have to get through.
well, okay, but I was thinking more of it's a sports watching thing, not a people
Really
that watch
sports playing.
sports and watch the British Bake Off and watch Star Trek. That Venn diagram.
Oh, the three of them together.
Yeah.
So, Colleen, I didn't know that you baked.
Yeah, I'm not as good as Dallas, but
Who is?
right.
Houston, maybe.
Oh.
Sorry, that was awful. That was so awful. So, speaking of awful things,
Yes.
the "Are you a doctor or aren't you?" line.
Yeah.
I kept
Very
wanting to
funny.
say, I'm a doctor, not a. Oh,
Which there was also the line, "Art thee Vulcan or art thee human?" Which made me think of, "Are you a man or a mouse?"
Yes.
But much more artfully spoken.
But should have been thou instead of thee.
Hey, they did their own thing on Vulcan.
Oh, okay.
She's T'Pau. She doesn't.
English is their first language.
That's right. She doesn't care what we think.
No, T'Pau doesn't care. T'Pau is like Janice from HR.
That's right.
Or accounting.
She don't give
Janice
a.
from accounting.
Dang.
Janice from accounting. She don't give a.
There you go.
last thing for me to mention, I liked Admiral Eyebrows. I said when they brought him in to create.
Admiral Comac.
Oh yeah.
Played by
Yeah.
Brian Morrow, who
Yes.
has like 200 and some IMDb credits.
Yeah.
And tons of crap.
But they inserted him there for just to keep the tension or the conflict
Yes.
up for that section of the episode to make
Well,
sure
it's
that
like they-
culture. Like,
it-
well, I have to.
It
why
was
can't you just
almost
go to-
like they
no.
forgot about that plot, and at the
Yeah.
end they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, T'Pau got us permission, we're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, no consequence.
I was hoping for a sting there or something too, like you're in trouble now.
I feel like somebody watched this episode and went, yeah, I feel really cheated, there was no consequence, and then they made Star Trek 3, the Search for Spock, and made the consequence. They went back and... Because in Star Trek 3, they steal the Enterprise to take Spock back to Vulcan.
Oh, you're right.
And they take him boy back to Vulcan
yeah.
with the thoughts in him.
Oh, right.
And it's the whole thing, like, it's gonna be lost. Spock's gonna be lost or dead or whatever if they don't get there, and they're told they can't go, so they steal the Enterprise.
I see.
But there's actually consequences to that.
Gotcha.
Where there's no consequences here. Here they're just like, you're fine. T'Pau got permission. I mean, that Admiral was being a jerk anyway.
The Admirals and Commodores, that's pretty much what they do. Is what we've learned so
Not
far.
the good ones. Jameson's not a jerk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think under those circumstances, the Admiral.
I don't know. Ask Mrs. Jameson.
I was gonna say he cheats on his wife. I put
Yeah.
him in the jerk category.
She cheated first.
That's
that
true.
doesn't excuse it.
And she committed treason.
Doesn't excuse
Okay. She was an evil villain. Doesn't
it.
excuse
Cheated on his wife.
Okay.
Even though he knew that. All right,
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not saying she's admirable in any way, but
Jameson has some bad
you
qualities.
cheat on your wife, it's a
He's
bad
far
thing no
from
matter what.
perfect. That's true.
The Vulcan Plumix soup. I forgot all about that. the
Or
second I-
not, don't make that for us. It's purple. I don't think it'll be good.
Yeah, and so Spock throws against the wall, and a day later, it's still there.
Yes, I saw that.
What the
Oh,
hell?
I didn't see
Their
that.
cleaning staff
I
is
was gonna
What
say they're only on
the
season
hell?
2. They can't afford a cleaning staff yet.
No, there's
No, the
somebody.
Enterprise should have a cleaning
They've
staff.
got we know they've got the concession or the catering.
They've
squad.
got extra crewmen walking
Yeah.
around. None of them could do it's because Yeoman Rand's gone and they haven't replaced the Yeoman, and only the Yeomans will do the
Well, and so I
cleanup.
guess Chappell was the one to actually do a little Wikipedia on Vulcan customs and found Plumix soup, and then went and inserted a card into the replicator or whatever, right, and made plumbing soup.
I guess that's how she made it.
Because he's like,
because she's not gonna have the
I
ingredients.
made it for you, and then later he's like, well, if you would make it for me, and it's like she's just gonna insert a card into a thing. And
But the replicator only pulls out colored chunks of cubes.
oh, that's true.
So there is a kitchen somewhere because there's the captain chef. Remember?
Oh, that's right, because he was
So
making
Gene
turkeys.
Roddenberry, yeah. So there is a kitchen with ingredients somewhere on the Enterprise. I like to imagine that the Vulcan Wikipedia page, they're so secret, it's only like 2 paragraphs. And plumbing soup is one of like 5 facts they know about the planet Vulcan.
Well, Wikipedia's going to die by then because obviously they would have mentioned it on the show otherwise.
well, and
If
I have a feeling
No, it just is so prevalent they don't even need it.
and maybe that's the reason really that Spock throws it out. Is like, God damn it, this is the only thing anyone ever thinks we eat. We're sick of it.
He's like, somebody told humans that as a joke. We find this disgusting.
It's like, oh, you're Greek. You want a euro? No, I don't want another euro. Right? Colleen's looking at me like I'm talking about
I hate
sports.
sauerkraut, so...
I did like I thought the open was really good though, as far as the setup. Just how much they delivered before the opening credits.
I just can't get over the plot holes in the opening. Honestly, if we were ranking this episode, if this was part of season 1, I would not put it in the top 10.
Really?
I would have put it in the bottom 10, but I wouldn't put it in the top 10. I'd say it would be around the middle.
let's get. I'm sorry for the plot holes. I mean,
Yes.
you didn't think that they at least tried to
No.
sew them up at some point eventually.
I did not buy that Spock did not make any type of preparation for
Alright.
the ceremony. And put the crew in such...
I still go with he
Okay.
was so stubborn that he thought he was better than. He definitely thinks he's superior to a lot of
He does.
Vulcans
but-
and humans.
He does, but I still don't think he would have taken that chance because he's putting hundreds of lives at risk.
Fair.
I will submit that, I accept that maybe he should have at least, without even telling them why, maybe quarantined himself or said,
Yeah.
around this time,
Yeah.
maybe put me in restraints or watch me or something.
Like a
or-
werewolf.
Is it
Yeah,
possible?
On the full moon, just put me in restraint.
Is it possible he didn't check his calendar and he thought it was going to be at least another week?
Maybe it was in the credits. I don't know. Very early on in the episode, I was like, "Oh, this is the episode where Spock gets his period."
By the way, while we're on this, what are 7 years?
Well,
Oh.
so Vulcan years, not Earth years, of course.
Yeah, so
And because the ship travels at faster than light, then time moves different speeds.
Oh,
in the
God.
Ship. So it just, if
Is
you
it
really
possible-
want to get into the physics of it,
is it possible this is the first Ponfar then since
No.
the first one?
no. But if you went into the physics of years and stuff, I think it would be extremely hard to calculate when his Ponfire was going
I
to hit.
feel like there has to be some
Although
sort of...
he'd be the one that figures it out.
If a yeah,
He'd be the one that
Objective
could calculate it.
Yeah.
It's the 7-year itch.
Yeah, it is.
He's got to scratch it.
Isn't that cheating?
yeah, Colleen.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's scratching.
The 7-year itch is
Yeah.
like leaving your marriage because.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what
I
the
don't know,
movie's
it's just
about.
an
Yeah,
expression.
Marilyn Monroe.
I've never seen it.
No,
It's the movie
it-
where her skirt gets blown up.
I know.
Yeah,
of
the
it,
expression
never
is after
seen it.
7 years you're so tired of marriage you're gonna go out and
Yeah.
get your itch scratched another way.
So that
Don't
is
get any
kind of what we were
ideas.
talking about.
Is Gotta Scratch It from the movie?
It was on the poster.
I haven't seen it, so I
The 7-year itch, gotta
I feel
scratch
like
it.
gotta get them all.
But don't scratch it after midnight when it's wet.
God.
I'll yeah.
I thought this was a family-friendly podcast.
It is, well, it's not
I didn't
that.
curse.
It's not that family friendly.
I meant the Gremlins when they're white. Not that.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was
I didn't even
referencing.
caught the yet. That's.
I got where Colleen
Yeah.
thought. I know where her mind went because my mind went there after I said it, but I was referencing Gremlins when I said it.
I am curious about the
seven.
7 years though.
What do you mean?
Like, so if you're on the Enterprise, like,
Oh yeah, be way
if you're
off.
Vulcan or you're Earth or Andorian or whatever,
Years
I
would
guess
be different,
I guess your
right?
birthday's yeah. So his calendar, he may have been using an Earth calendar.
He would have made the adjustment. It's Spock.
They never covered. Oh, well, all right. So maybe the unit, like, if we were to accept like the
But
universal
Spock's not
translator.
perfect.
He's not perfect, but he would have calculated it out perfectly.
I mean, he forgot he had a third eyelid.
Right, but I'm saying the universal translator would have accounted for what English considers to be years. So
Yeah.
maybe the calculation kind of works in that sense.
I think Keith and I are onto something here.
Yeah.
My other alternate episode was the Starfleet channel because Uhura says, Well, I tried the Starfleet channel, and which
But
is
it was just showing reruns of people.
it's the worst. It's the worst Sirius XM channel, and it's the worst cable TV channel. It's awful. It's not what you think it is.
Also would have died off because they would have mentioned it by now.
Sure. I like the. Well, of course, we had the battle music in this episode.
Yes.
And I thought this was the first episode with the bass line echoing the boom 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 boom.
I don't know.
I really like that.
This is definitely the first episode where that music has shown up,
Yeah.
from my perspective.
Yes.
I feel like I stumbled onto another fight scene, like a decade or two ago. Whenever I was like just surfing through channels, and I happened to catch it, which I known because of the cable guy, and I was really excited because oh my god, they're doing that thing.
Yeah.
I like grab a recorder for that. I don't think this was that episode though, so it's interesting.
Yeah, this is the episode that's best known for that.
Yeah, we also Mad Lab. We did FFN in Space many years ago. It was an improv sci-fi show and a lot of Trek elements. And every time there was a fight, the stage turned red and we played this music. It's a class. It's obviously it's iconic, and even people that don't know what they're hearing kind of know what they're hearing.
Right.
So, there was another spot where T'Pau told. I think she told Kirk or McCoy or both of them, "Know your place," more or less.
Yeah.
Which again, I thought
Because they're
was cool.
off-worlders.
Yeah. I also thought as Spock's trying to tell him all this stuff that's going on, Kirk and McCoy and the other people that are learning, it's like it's that moment where like you've got this friend you know pretty good, but then you really get to know him.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, huh. Tell me more about this. Huh. That's okay. I'll catch up with you. I got to deal with this.
I thought it was a pretty strong contrivance. I mean, the thing with Kirk just assuming, oh, I can just knock him out and not being allowed to ask questions about what the custom entail before he could accept or to refuse that. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, why didn't you just start and have the Enterprise blow them up? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, they're allies.
That's right. Well, and speaking of planet blowing up, the whole Altair 6 thing, they have to be at the ceremonies there. Were they going to cut the ribbon with the phasers? What exactly were they going to be doing there?
They just wanted, it was all for
It's
show.
inauguration, right?
Well, yeah, but they were like, well, they just want the
Right.
starships to show up because it's a good showing. It wasn't for like a
And-
specific purpose.
And I've made fun of them for having to do all those
Optics.
those medical exams they often have to do at the different planets, but this might have been the flimsiest orders yet.
Yeah,
Um,
it was.
I thought Shatner was great in this episode, and we talk about we have some people that aren't as crazy about Shatner, but I thought he was the Kirk that we love. That's the tough guy and loves his friend and is the captain. But I thought all the smug and comedic aspects he didn't overplay. I thought he played him just perfectly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm raising an eyebrow, I'm smirking at this.
Except the shirt had to get cut open.
Well, of course.
I don't blame that on Shatner. I blame that on the producers in the costume department.
Shatner liked to have his.
Shatner pushed
He
for
liked
this to
his
happen a
nipples
lot. Oh,
Yes.
he always made sure
Yeah.
his shirt got ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we all laughed very heartily at that.
Yeah.
But that said, I thought this was one of those episodes that demonstrates how great he was, how this character so suited him, and why everybody that loves Kirk, that's the guy they want to be, is this guy in this episode. Not just this episode, but
Held
especially.
his own against a Vulcan with blood fever. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
That too. Yes.
Lived to tell the tale.
Yep.
Was chosen champion by the beautiful T'Pring. Beautiful and logical.
So, did they
as it turns
radio back to Vulcan and tell them, hey, by the way, we tricked you guys. Kirk's alive. So Spock has not been arrested. Because as far as T'Pol and them, though,
Oh, you're
Spock's
right.
going to go turn himself
You're
in
right.
for prison
You're right.
for, like, ever.
Imagine they must find out later, I guess. It's
I mean, definitely.
So I guess is the question that as long as the blood fever gets released, does that mean, is that the signal at the end of it? Or is somebody
Yeah.
being, yeah, I guess it has to, right?
Either through intense intercourse or murder.
Well, and Spock says he can't really explain the blood fever and how it works.
Yep. Well, no, he won't explain it
Right.
because they're off-worlders.
My final note, and we'll get to her in a second also, but Arlene Martell was played T'Pring.
T'Pring. Oh, yeah.
She had a ton of credits. She, the one I remember especially just from looking, and she did some Star Trek stuff later too, And she was in a couple episodes of Twilight Zone, but one of the classic ones was 22, which involves a woman who's in a hospital and keeps having these dreams about getting on an airplane or whatever.
Oh.
I'm going to complain a bit about IMDb and their bias right now because when they're known for and they show like 4 posters, they definitely prioritize movies over television always, every time.
Yeah.
So she is best known for A Walk to Remember as choir singer.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of this named character, even though her biography paragraph, she has a 2-paragraph biography and 1 whole paragraph's about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And that's what she's best known for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that's not shown in her known for in IMDb.
Yeah.
it's got to be automated to this sense. It's like what titles are the most viewed or popular or something like that.
I don't know, but I've noticed the IMDb.
Either way, it's definitely...
I mean, now they do have The Young and the Restless up there in her top 4, which is a soap opera, so that's TV, but
Sure.
I noticed that they always prioritize.
But yeah, if this isn't what she's best known for, then...
It is what she's
It
best
is.
known
I mean,
for,
it's-
and that's very frustrating to me.
I mean, she did a lot of other TV stuff, but this was clearly...
Yeah. I mean, she had a lot of TV guest spots, but this was one that was very, very memorable.
And I will say, I would go through the blood fever for her. But not now that I'm marrying you.
This is my surprise face.
I would have, is what I should have said. I go through the blood fever for you.
Do I look surprised?
I do it every day. That's why I make so many bad decisions.
Sure, blame it on me.
I'm blaming the blood fever. I have to kill somebody.
Woman of the episode, T'Pring,
To Pring.
not T'Pol.
Nah, much as I liked her. There were a lot of, if people want to pick random crew members, there were a lot of those to pick from this episode.
Keith,
Same.
did you want to pick somebody?
T'Pau is the old lady that was in
Yes.
charge? Yeah, I pick her.
You pick her as
You
the
wanna pick a woman?
sexiest person in the episode?
Yeah, she was
Okay.
badass. She was in charge.
We're definitely starting over with the episode rankings.
I vote this number 1. It's also the worst.
I was going to say, I want to vote it for the worst so far. What about you, Keith? Stevens is the best. I say the worst. What do you say?
I think it's going to be the median.
The median? Okay. Well, let's split the difference and just make it all 3 for now. Any other last final thoughts, or are we done?
Until next week's what? Who mourns for
Who
Adonis?
mourns for Adonis?
I feel like I'm not excited about that, but Julie Parrish is in it, right?
Maybe. I couldn't tell you. I was looking at the description right now. Still looking. A powerful being claiming to be the Greek god Apollo appears and demands the crew of the Enterprise disembark onto his plan to worship him. I'd say that's it. Live
Yeah.
long and prosper.
I can't.
I shall do neither.
Trump me with the actual. Oh, I hate using that word now.